Hey everyone, how's it going? So last time we talked about how to say I in Japanese using words such as watashi, boku, and ore. And you can see that video right here if you want, just click on the link. But today, connected to that, we're actually going to talk about how to say you. Y-O-U, you. It's a very common word in English, but it's used a little bit differently in Japanese. So we're actually going to break this video down into two parts. How to say you politely in Japanese, and then how to say you in a way where you're almost swearing at somebody in Japanese. So how to say politely and how to say it not so politely. Okay, so when you first start learning Japanese, the word for you that you're going to learn is anata. Anata. Now there's no kanji, it's just a hiragana here. So it's very simple, easy to understand, and easy to remember. Ways that you would use this would be such as anata no namae wa nan desu ka? Anata wa pizza ga suki desu ka? And things like this. It's actually very easy to use, it's very straightforward. Now, when you're in Japan, if you use this, it's not rude, technically. If you're a beginner in Japanese, people will understand and they'll go with it. But there are much better ways of saying you in Japanese other than just saying anata. So one way of addressing people in Japanese without using anata is just use their name. Japanese people really like it and appreciate it when you remember their name and you're able to address them by it. So if I have a friend, Mr. Tanaka, then I can just say, Tanaka-san, do omoimasu ka? What do you think, Mr. Tanaka-san? It's just replace anata with their name, and it's really easy. So another way to address people, especially if you're in the professional world, such as working in an office or anything like that, is to use their title. So when I worked at an office at a university, I would address my bosses and that by their title, such as kacho, bucho, or even sensei if it's a professor and stuff like that. Now, there are many different titles depending on where you work and depending on your position in that. So if you are working in Japan, try to listen to what the other people are calling the people around them and make sure to use these titles. If I was to come up and talk to my kacho and say, anata wa, then I think he'd be a little upset and I should know that I'm not supposed to address him that way and I have to address him as kacho. And even if I know his name, as I said just a second ago, it is better if I say kacho than say Tanaka-san, as if Tanaka-san was my kacho, my manager in my office. So if you're in a professional setting, it's best to use the person's actual title. So now, saying all that, with the titles and names and everything, if you're actually friends with somebody and you're close and relatively on the same level, I've talked about a couple times, you don't even have to say anything. You can just drop the whole anata wa and just say, do omoimasu ka? Or domo. You can be more casual and polite and stuff like that. So if you're able to speak to somebody with using boku or ore, as I mentioned in the last video, then you're probably able to just drop off the whole anata part anyways and not even worry about it and just talk to them casually. So, see what they're saying to you if you're friends with them and that. Just don't even worry about saying you. If it's obvious that you're addressing them, then don't even worry about it. Just leave it off altogether. Now, one little funny part or interesting part in Japan with the use of anata is you'll find that a lot of wives use it as a kind of like a loving way of saying you to their husbands. So you'll see this on anime and in drama and things like that. So don't be surprised if you hear a wife in the street or if you're at your friend's place and their mom says anata to their husband or whatever. It's completely natural and super normal, and it's just kind of an affectionate way of them saying you to their husband. So that's basically the polite ways of saying you in Japanese. Obviously, where you live in Japan, the dialects in that will be very different depending on where you are, such as Kansai and Tohoku are very different from each other. So watch what the people around you are saying as always, and keep in mind where you live. But if you ever get stuck, just using anata is not a problem. But remember, titles, names, or if you're close with somebody, nothing at all. Great. I hope that helps. Leave a comment down below if you like it, all that jazz. Subscribe if you like. And in the next video, we're going to go over a little bit more different way of saying you. So make sure you check that out as well. Cheers, guys.